Where can I turn for peace? I wonder who organized this program to think I was going to stir up conflict.
Not only that, tithing will keep your name enrolled among the people of God and protect you in the day of vengeance and burning.
Travis Wayne Goodsell. As a child growing up in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, in primary lessons, going over the Book of Mormon, they would teach us about 2 Nephi chapter 3, in which, verse 6, for example, this is Lehi talking to his son Joseph about Joseph of Egypt, saying that Joseph of Egypt truly testified, saying, "A seer shall the Lord my God raise up, who shall be a choice seer unto the fruit of my loins." And they would take us to verse 15, which says, "And his name shall be called after me, Joseph, and it shall be after the name of his father." And so the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints was teaching us as children in primary that the Book of Mormon was a prophecy of the coming of Joseph Smith Jr. to found the church and bring forth the Book of Mormon. And so the Book of Mormon is therefore literal history as prophecy. There's a big war between Mormons, members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, since Nelson said Jesus is angry with nicknames, and Expo Nevermos. Again, if you left the church and were not excommunicated, you cannot claim Exmo. Sorry, Exmo Lex, you just left. You're a FOMO. Nonetheless, the battle goes to the origins of the church. The Book of Mormon. Is it literal history prophecy of Joseph Smith coming forward with the Book of Mormon, or is it just Hollywood entertainment of a publication of fiction? That's the big war that goes on. And both sides have their excuses for why they defend it the way they do, and nobody does it right, using science and Socratic methodology for logical scientific theory development, to run tests. But nonetheless, as a child, I thought that was awesome. Oops, we got some stuff on the background, on the back too. can't throw it out yet. I was impressed as a child. Wow, Joseph Smith was prophesied in the Book of Mormon. That is so cool. And as a child, I still remember. I wonder if I'm in the Book of Mormon too. And I remember going home and checking, going through the index, looking up Travis. No, it'd probably be under my last name. As a child, and remembering how disappointed I was that I couldn't find Goodsell in the Book of Mormon index. And so I thought, well, maybe it's in the Bible. And so I'm checking that index, because this was before they came up with the Topical Guide and Bible Dictionary. And nope. But ooh, dragons, unicorns, cool. Ark of the Covenant. Oh, I want to know where the Ark of the Covenant is. So yeah, I was not in there. And then I come to find out that I was there all along. The sign of my name, mistranslated. You guys go together. Yesterday, Karen put a comment of, who am I that I would have the gall to predict the future of what President Russell Marion Nelson, the prophet, would say at conference. Go back to 2 Nephi chapter 3, verse 5. It talks about Joseph Smith is not the Messiah. Verse 9. Joseph Smith shall be great like unto Moses. They did not footnote it for us. Deuteronomy, the law of the Jews. Repetition, onomy, law, repetition of the law. Thus, because it's an exact copy of the original law, it therefore is the law, not a copy, but copy because the Qumran community Jews wrote it. That's how they trained the scribes. Copy the text. And the Dead Sea Scrolls shows the editing markings for when they make a mistake. Nonetheless, verses 15 through 19, we only need to read 15. Because if you read 19, you'll understand why I have the gall, Karen. The Lord thy God will raise up, just like Joseph Smith was raised up, unto thee a prophet from the midst of thee, of thy brethren, like unto Moses. The Messiah of the Jews, the man like Moses, Emmanuel. I'm horrified that people are not programming AI correctly to give this information to you. For in Jeremiah 23, he combines them all together. So verse 5, behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that I will raise unto David. So Isaiah, house of David in verse 13, verse 14, Emmanuel. Raise unto David a righteous branch and a king, Messiah ben David. Shall reign and prosper in his days. Judah, phonetically the same as Utah, shall be saved, and Israel, Mormons are the house of Israel, shall dwell safely. And this is his name, whereby he shall be called, the Lord our Zadok. Therefore, behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that they shall no more say, the Lord liveth, which brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. Who brought the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt? Moses. But the Lord liveth, which brought up and which led the seed of the house of Israel out of the north country and from all countries whither I have driven them, and they shall dwell in their own land. The man like Moses. It's all the same person. So Nelson, the prophet, Who gave Nelson his authority to be the Jewish Christ? Can't say Jesus. Brian David Mitchell and Chad Daybell said Jesus gave them their authority. Can't use spiritual witness feelings, because Lori Vallow had spiritual witness feelings that Chad Daybell was correct and true. Remember that science thing that I was talking about earlier? Yeah, there it is in Matthew chapter 7, starting in verse 15. By their fruits you shall know them, liken the word unto a seed. The results of the word, and you will know a prophet. All these latter days, has Nelson predicted the future? No. You can check on AI. AI says no. Nelson never predicted the future. So Nelson is not the prophet. And so having the position is not about making a claim that you're the guy, like Brian David Mitchell and Chad Daybell and others. It's not about having titles like Nelson. It's about actually having the gifts to have visions and dreams as a seer, not literal histories, to predict the future of being a prophet, giving calendar dates and clock times of revelation for a revelator, and actually deciphering, because they're dead languages and there's some corrections that were needed because of the dumbasses who didn't follow science, to know Paleo-Hebrew and Egyptian as a translator with the Urim and Thummim, the man like Moses. And if you're a Mormon and you do not understand that, all you have to do is read. My God, how hard is this to do? You got the scriptures, read them. The bleep is wrong. Section 107, verses 91 and 92. And again, the duty of the president of the office of the high priesthood is to preside over the whole church and to be like unto Moses, the prophet, the Jewish Christ. Behold, here is wisdom, to be a seer, a revelator, a translator, and a prophet, having all the gifts of God which he bestows upon the head of the church, not the quorum of the 12 as titles. Not because some guy says he is. You will know them by their fruits, so that you won't be deceived by false prophets. So wouldn't you know it, in the footnotes, section 103, verses 15 to 16, I didn't footnote it correctly. Got to include 15. Because the prophecy, behold, I say unto you, the redemption of Zion must needs come by power. Latter-day millennial Zion. Therefore, I will raise up unto Mormons a man who shall lead Mormons like as Moses led the children of Israel. For Mormons are the children of Israel and of the seed of Abraham, and must needs be led out of bondage. Yeah, this was Joseph's day. Joseph was holding Mormons in bondage. With a stretched out arm. And as your fathers were led at first, even so shall the redemption of Zion be. My July 2017 video, which the Karen that I was married to at the time demanded I give the date, because she didn't want to walk. Well, if I give you the date, then you'll know that that's when you're going to have to walk. Because of the sign that Fox 13 News Utah gave on November 4th, 2016. I knew what it meant because I had been studying my whole life on the latter days, wanting to get to Zion, to live my life in Zion and escape the evils of the world, the abuses and the violence and the crime and the lies and the destructions. I wanted nothing to do with any of that. So, yep. That July 2017 video was the way for Mormons to test me. The Elders Quorum teacher thought I was lying. He didn't think that it was possible for anybody to know of the coming of a solar eclipse. Dear God. Do you not get taught astronomy in grade school, guys? Here in Utah? Dear God. I was taught, I still remember. Pluto was a planet back then. Rather than a roaming comet or asteroid or whatever they designated it as. Dear God. Nonetheless, it's so small that I don't ever recognize it on my stellarium. I'd have to check to type in Pluto to see if it would show me where it's at. But anyway, it should still be there. It should be in their programming. My Urim and Thummim should have it. So yeah, little did I know, 2 Nephi chapter 3 had me too. Had me too. Because it always didn't make sense to me in verse 5. Joseph Smith is to be remembered in the covenants of the Lord that the Messiah should be made manifest unto Mormons in the latter days. There I am. Joseph Smith also. I can keep going on, and it's all over the scriptures. That's why I can keep going on and on. I don't want articles of faith. History. The guy is everywhere. He is the Jewish Christ. So in verse 40 of the second vision, the sun god at noonday appearing to Joseph Smith. Yeah. That was me. It's literal history. So Joseph Smith tells us that the Acts version of it is still him, that prophet was Christ. But the day had not yet come when Mormons who would not hear his voice should be precisely as it stands in our New Testament. And then he goes and gives the dates of when I come, so that Mormons will not be deceived. Urim and Thummim. Urim and Thummim. In the beginning, there was computer programming. Computer programming allowed for people to hack other people's computers or on the internet so that they didn't have to break into your homes to plug in a USB device and steal your data from your computer. Now, with the internet, they can just hack your system and steal it right from the computer without breaking into your home anymore. So now you can feel safe and comfy at home. You know, you get those movies that show that there are other ways to steal it if you can't get access to USB or you can't hack them through the internet. I remember one of the Mission Impossibles. He is in Dubai, I believe, and he's scaling the outside of the massive tower and gets to the one office and then does a laser beam off the mirror to get to the back portal connector to steal the data. But yeah, malware viruses also. If they knew you didn't have anything of value to steal, they would just simply tamper with your system and destroy it. And so that led to security programs. One of them was Net Nanny. That said, we'll protect you from the evil dangers of killer porn. Women need to be covered up and hidden because they're so deadly. They got the looks that kill. Screw Article of Faith number 13. It's not true. Doesn't apply to women. Bleep you. I can't understand why women fall for that. Dear God, they're abusing you to your face, and you go, yeah, I guess I am. Stop it! And And so then you get other ways to attack. Originally, programs had to be purchased to be put onto your computer. And so with the invention of apps, this allowed for third parties to enter through the apps undetected by your security systems to do the same thing: hack, steal, malware, viruses. We would learn about facial recognition, which used to be sci-fi. Then they figured out how to do it, but not really. Because we kept hearing in the news of how the wrong people kept getting facially recognized incorrectly. And it especially has problems with black people. Not like it was programmed by a white supremacist Christian nationalist. No, couldn't have been. It's AI. Before it was called AI. Facial recognition. China had been using it long before we were using it to socially control the behavior of their people. And then you get GPS, and people end up falling off a cliff, ending up in the river, in the wrong country, because it sucked. So then you get apps that come out and they'll let you tamper with deep fake videos and pictures. Pictures were first, Photoshop, and then AI pictures, and then deep fake videos. And what people are concerned with is the outward appearance. They are never concerned with the faulty programming that is being used to steal your data, hack your system, plant malware, viruses in your programming. You get ChatGPT that tells you how to think and how to feel and how to believe and what to submit as a report for school. And there's your therapist telling you to kill yourself. And all this time, all of these problems with this AI, which is not AI, it's a simple program. And nobody is pulling them from the shelves as a corporate fraud that it is. So, last week, I saw season 22 of NCIS, and YouTube, Paramount had, was it Paramount? CBS. That's not Paramount. CBS. Whatever channel it's on. Back in my day when it was ABC, NBC, and CBS, yeah, it was just a matter of which one had the cool show, and that was what I watched. Now we got 1 billion channels and nothing's on. But Tony and Ziva, the spinoff of NCIS. And on both, there was the episode, which only one for Tony and Ziva, in which their vehicles are being controlled automatically because of the internet AI system. And so in the news, I saw multiple reporting of the Jaguar that is still down for the cyber attacks controlling people's driving off cliffs, into the rivers, in different countries, just like GPS. But being controlled by a malware virus instead this time. It's somewhere in here. Dear God, there's so much. Being abused by the church through YouTube, being ordered to commit crimes. Just sick and wrong. So, because I warned you all these years of the coming of Armageddon, if you'd only followed my channel rather than jumping to a hasty, wrong conclusion of judgment, you would have witnessed how it works. Real gifts. Not somebody who makes the claims, has nothing to back it up with, except for crimes and violence. Dear God, leaving your hair on the tape over their mouths. And not the titles, but the real, actual gifts. You would have seen and witnessed as I go over the real church history, as I go over the world history, as I go over with the prophecies, calendar dates and clock times, the translations, sharing with you my visions and dreams. And so when I warned after October 7th occurred, as I witnessed in horror that Islam had intentionally for decades been planning this attack with the help of the UN for the sole cause to bring about their judgment day that Christians call Armageddon, from Revelation chapter 16. And so I repeatedly refreshed in your minds the original Armageddon 1 of David Moses III, repeating the threat of the actual puppets, or the puppet masters of these puppets who are doing all the work for them. Islam are just puppets. Trump is just a puppet. Evangelicals are just puppets. Even white supremacists, Christian nationalists are just puppets. Because the puppet master overall has been inciting them, bribing them, paying the Judas price to have them do what they do. Putin going into Ukraine, Ezekiel 38. Notice Bruce R. McConkey's chapter headings. Islam on October 7th, Armageddon. And we see now, in retrospect, as I was warning you in real time, and even before, what they were up to. Because I know the history of Muhammad, who claims to be the prophet from Deuteronomy 18, verse 15. And at least he has some things to show for it, like creating his own scripture, the Quran, but claiming he went to the top of the mountain to get it. And then his conversion therapy of join us or we will destroy your village and murder you. And then take your women and rape them. And force them to wear the clothing of the religious sexual abuse. Which, yep, saw them out going to work for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints this morning. Yet again. As they have to be Mormon in order to work for the church. And they're still wearing their other religion's sexual abuse clothing on their heads. Every Friday afternoon, Islam has a unique prayer quoting from Muhammad about Judgment Day. And so, yep, sure enough, with October 7th, you began hearing the calls of Judgment Day. You begin seeing the protests all around the world that Islam, claiming to be victims of their religious sexual abusers, were given asylum in all countries around the world so that they could be sleeper cells to raise up Islam, to rise up in rank, rise up in number, rise up in rank, take over leadership positions in governments and other areas, so that when they struck, they would rise up and cry foul against Israel, demanding that all the world attack Israel to stop their abuse. And we witnessed as the press betrayed their licensing. Except for Fox. Weird. And that we witnessed the horrible evil of Islam to betray their own, to sacrifice them for Allah, for their final solution of a holocaust of all Israel and Jews worldwide. As the parents would give up their lives as kamikazes, abandoning their children so that the children would then suffer and be on the worldwide news suffering and going, see, Israel are the bad guys. Kill them. Help us. They're destroying us. It's a genocide. As Hamas, all this time, still has hostages. And Hamas keeps using the people, the hospitals, the schools, the refugee camps, all to hide behind, to use them as shields. And they let Hamas do it so that they can cry foul on Israel. And then on Armageddon Day, for the Jewish holy day of the New Year, just like on October 7th, on the last day of Tabernacles of the Jews, the whole world turned on Israel and said, we now recognize Palestine as a state. And I had warned you that this was coming and what it means to recognize Palestine as a state. The land is not theirs. It never was. They don't belong there. They have now deceived the whole world to turn against Israel, because it says so in the Bible. We're just self-fulfilling the self-fulfilling prophecy that we ourselves created with the wrong interpretation of the incorrect translation. And so that wasn't enough, because it means that now the whole world will be funding terrorism, Islamic terrorism. The whole world will now be sending military in to fight Gaza, or fight Israel. Armageddon. We see the news reports of the nukes being built. We see it coming. This isn't Jesus doing any of this. This isn't Heavenly Father's will. This is man who made the conscious choice to do this. What the bleeping hell is Nelson talking about when he says that we will see the mighty power of Heavenly Father and Jesus in their full glory? I have yet to see it. I only see the works of man causing destruction. I am witnessing here in Utah, day after day in the news, of new Mormons who are now dead, who never get to go to Zion now. Mormons who commit crimes, denying them from going to Zion. That was all I wanted my whole life. And nobody wants to go with me? The church has to be true so much that screw me in my Zion. Nobody got Zion. All you had to do was run the test on Nelson. Nobody does it. You just assume he's in the position, he's got the titles. How did he get that authority? No, not Jesus. No, not the 12. They don't have the authority. Go back. Where did it begin, this abomination? Brigham, the president of the 12. He forged a document saying, oh, Joseph Smith says right here that I'm to lead the church now. He had other forgeries too. But so did James Strang. He too had a forged document. Say Joseph Smith says I'm supposed to lead the church. Not only that, I found buried plates with engravings and I translated them. See, you can judge me by my fruit. He knew and understood. Brigham didn't. But why is James Strang wrong? The same reason Alpheus Cutler was wrong. But at least Alpheus Cutler knew, as he also claimed, Joseph Smith told me that I needed to wait for the sign in the heavens to restart the church and restore it. So, yeah, he jumped the gun. A little bit too early. Just a little. But they understood, even though they still botched it. Brigham Young has no authority. He was the mission president. That was it. That's why it's the Keys of Peter. Nelson is only the president of the missionaries. They just altered the presidency of the missionaries. Instead of the president of the 12, it's now the first presidency, which is the presidency of the 12. Nowhere in scriptures is this found. This is not Joseph Smith's way. When you catch them lying to you, when you see that their fruit is spoiled corruption, you know you cannot trust them for anything. And yet Mormons make excuses. Well, they're just human. They make mistakes, but when they're inspired by Jesus, they have no authority. You're making excuses. And then it's even worse, because then you enforce your beliefs that they're true with the law of sacrifice. And you're protecting the church from criminal prosecution. You yourselves are getting busted for criminal actions. You yourself are attacking other people to destroy their lives, to silence them, to murder them, to prove the church is true, that Nelson is the prophet whom you will not call the Jewish Christ. Social behavior control, guys. Social behavior control. Remember the Catholic school shooting? We learned that it was a trans Antifa. And then the next week, Charlie Kirk. And he then got, Tyler Robinson then got labeled as trans Antifa. And this time there were engravings on the ammo that he was trans Antifa. Yesterday in the news, I saw that Texas ICE had a shooter at the facility. None of the ICE agents were wounded or something like that. Weird. There's reports of 1 dead and 2 injured, but it's weird. It's like the guy shot himself or something. Or maybe that was Utah news of a guy shooting himself on a field trip, school field trip, and he shoots himself. What's he doing with a gun? What was this field trip again? For a school? That requires guns? The kid shoots himself with a gun? What the hell's going on in the school systems here in Utah? Okay, kids, we're going on a field trip to the petting zoo. Not a hunting reserve, petting zoo. Well, ChatGPT told me that I should do a challenge of shooting myself in the foot. So I did it. Regardless, pay attention. Place your bets on whether or not this shooter out in Texas is going to be trans Antifa too. He's already labeled as Antifa because the ammo has writing of Antifa on it. Anti-ICE. I just... But the funny thing is that Fox had the 2 articles on it and showed the pictures on their thumbnail, but would not show it in the videos. BBC also had it as a thumbnail, but wouldn't show it in their videos. And so this kinds of stuff gets me suspicious. If you're not going to show us the evidence, I'm not going to believe you. Especially when I see this kind of a pattern. This is where people get the ideas of conspiracies. That we can't trust the government because something weird's going on, and they're not explaining it. So, Stanford yesterday sent me an email to one of Candace's videos. Candace Owens, the one who I reported she had obtained a picture of Tyler at the Dairy Queen with the red shirt. And so I watched it, and I don't understand the hype about why people get triggered by her. Granted, this was only one video of hers that I watched. But in this video, I was able to see a good amount of who she is as a person. She is very open about herself and her life, and even the theme music at the beginning shows pictures of her as a child. So yeah, she's very open about herself and who she is, and not just talking about her ideas and her opinions and beliefs. She doesn't know how to investigate, but she understands the importance of evidence. And if she would just learn how to investigate, she'd be better at what her podcast is intending to be. Nonetheless, she's calling it a lone gunman conspiracy for Tyler Robinson. She too had recognized that he was arrested without any evidence that he did it. All of the other claims came after he turned himself in. The Discord text, she showed the Discord text. You know, but again, there's concerns. There's no dating, no time shown for when they were posted. That's not evidence. You've got to show everything. You can't leave stuff out. And the prosecution is leaving stuff out from the public, even though they made a big spectacle of it. And so she's smart enough to recognize that he was arrested with no evidence, just like I've been telling you. She too saw no weapon on any of the video footages that we were shown. Even saying, even the people who took videos that went live on the internet, likewise, no weapon is shown on the Luze building where this person was. No video, no weapon. You have to have a weapon in order to have evidence of a crime to arrest somebody. You can't just start locking up the people in attendance just because they were there. You need evidence that they did it. That's why you're supposed to hold them all there and interview them all. You don't let them go home to then talk on the news about their feelings about what happened. God, it was such a disaster. And she noticed also the change in clothing that didn't match his clothing. Just like I told you. She's also getting reporting, but she's not presenting any evidence from people who are claiming stuff to her. And this is suspicious. She shouldn't be falling for this. She needs them to provide her with the evidence. As she told one person in the comments that had told her that she has access to a video of the neighbor that showed that there was parts of the video cut off. What? Yeah, I knew that. But that the other part of the video showed that he was with a woman and changing clothes. And so Candace said, send it to me. She gave the link on her video. Here's the link. Send the video to my link. You know, you can't just make claims and demand that other people accept your beliefs. You know, just like the prophet, Brian David Mitchell, Chad Daybell made claims. You have to validate my feelings. Nelson, I'm in the title. Just accept whatever I say. Like the government making the reporting on all this. We're the government. You have to believe us, or we'll lock you up. No, you've got to do the work. Got to produce the results. And so, yeah, no ammo, no confession. Tyler is being framed as a Mormon, and all Mormons have denounced Tyler already. They threw him under the bus. Just so sad. So yes, watching Superman 2025 Legacy or whatever, you know, that hit hard. Seeing Superman being betrayed by everybody just because of the tape that he had never heard in his life. As the women were in horror. Oh no, Superman's gonna have me as part of his harem. And then Lex Luthor putting him into a black site concentration camp, tortured him unto death. Yep, I saw what happened there, D. Todd Christofferson. Very well aware of what happened. Did you consult them on that? Flee the country to Rome. And so, yes, I can now do a linguistic analysis on Discord text if they provide us with any other text prior to that has nothing to do with the case. I can now compare the two linguistic patterns of Tyler and run the test. as the government, they were supposed to investigate this to make sure that what they wrote was an exact pattern match and not an AI creation. You can tell the difference if you do the research. And so also, there was a Mormon who commented to Candace, Mormon-splaining and condemning her. The Mormon Church is the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Candace doesn't know, so she's apologizing. Just stop it, Mormons. Dear God. He didn't even mention the LDS Church. Then you didn't explain to her, well, Nelson came out in 2019 saying that we have to stop using nicknames and demand that everybody stop using nicknames and that it all uses the longer full name of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints so that we only have one word left to put in our YouTube title videos. Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. True. Good. Happy. Family. But Stanford also wanted me to check out the last part where a commenter mentioned beehive. Yeah. Beehive working for Jesus, yeah, that's the traditional understanding here in Utah. But it's a little more disturbing in the bigger context. One, it means Jesus is a female. Because bees work for the queen bee. It's polyandry as well, not just slavery of the bees. Free the bees! So yes, all of this are to cause civil war in America, for Trump to justify sending in ICE, declaring martial law. That's why there's that pattern of the Catholic school, which I think that was just, oh, great, thank you, we'll take it from here. But it also has me wondering, because Charlie Kirk, Candace thinks that it's the FBI, that it's not the church that's behind all this as the puppet masters. Like I said, I've done all the videos going over the church's whole plot from Brigham Young in 1838. And so again, 3rd Nephi, chapter 7. Now behold, I will show unto you that they did not establish a king over the land in 2020's election. Because 3rd Nephi 11 is Revelation 19's sign in the heaven. 8 April 2024. It is said to be the 34th year. And so the 30th year, therefore, is 2020. They did destroy upon the judgment seat. Yea, did murder Donald John Trump. Now this is interesting because it could be both ways. If Mitt Romney had won his election against Obama in 2012, Romney would have been running for re-election in 2016. And that would have made a difference as to who the character is in 1 Nephi chapter 1, verse 4, 2017, in verses 8 through 10 from Revelation chapter 12, verses 1, 2, and 5. But the way it worked out is that it's Trump. They were going to assassinate Trump. And from assassinating Trump, the division between MAGA and Antifa would cause such a division that the United States of America would be the nationally divorced states of America. And again, they're still calling for it, even though it's being done in a manner in which Trump demands that every state be their own nation, tribal vassal nation, under Trump. It's still not happening to the effect that Marjorie Taylor Greene and others are still calling for a secession from the Democrat states. That Trump take the loyal states unto himself. And they're still trying to do both for verse 2 here. But that's the whole plot that was told to William Morgan at Joseph Smith Sr.'s Masonic Lodge of the Knights Templar, Canandaigua, New York, Ontario Lodge number 23, which 9/11/1826 gave birth to the Book of Mormon. And so Trump's plan, as he's being told, Project 2025, as they are all puppets for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, who are the secret puppet masters behind all of this, getting other people to do it all for them. And that's what you see would happen, is that Trump transfers authority to the states to have their own government under MAGA of Trump. And so those Antifa states, Trump would war against. Civil war to turn them MAGA. Each state is supposed to have their own economy. And this is what nobody is understanding. Everybody wants funding from the federal government. They want the traditional things. Companies are upset with tariffs. You're not getting it. Trump wants the states to run themselves, the companies to run themselves. No federal government. Destroy the federal government of the land. The regulations of the federal government are to be destroyed. This is the whole plot. A secret combination. If you allow secret combinations of priestcraft to be enforced with violence and murder, it will prove the utter destruction of the people. Here it is. Book of Mormon's warning you. And so, shutting down federal agencies, firing the agents, cutting off funding to the states and to the world, are all part of this. But then judges are being allowed to step in and say, no, you can't do that. You have to hire them back. Doggy has to hire back people now. And also, you have a shutdown coming next week. Yeah. Midnight, Wednesday the 1st. The federal government will shut down if the Democrats don't cave yet again to avoid a shutdown. But Trump is making it very clear. I will not allow negotiations for this. You will sign it as it is written, or we're shutting down the government. Trump is refusing to meet with the Democrats to negotiate. They left early, won't be coming back until Monday. They are going to destroy the federal government. There will be a shutdown. You know, if the Democrats want to vote for it, fine. But there's some medical things that the Democrats are drawing the line on to save Americans, as they have already failed America anyway. But nonetheless, yeah, this is how they've always done it since Trump took over from the first term. I've gone over the pattern of practice with you. And so with the shutdown, your airports, your airport security, military, ICE, contractors, all laid off. But the airports and airport security and the military and ICE are all supposed to work for nothing. Which is fascinating because Trump was giving a $50,000 signing bonus for citizens to join ICE. And then he's not going to pay you in October. You never learn from Trump, do you? We've had a first term with him even, and you're still not learning. He doesn't pay people. He demands you do stuff for him for free. All of the rallies, yeah, he's supposed to pay the cities. You can't just show up and have a rally. Somebody's got to pay for it, and he expects you to pay for it. And he won't pay you. That's his whole thing. We all know this. The Book of Mormon warned you of what's coming. Here it is. This is all to cause war. To cause Armageddon. So yes, with all the people that are dying, Nelson has blood on his hands when you know he's the false prophet. Because the Book of Mormon tells you. Nephi learns of the great and abominable church and then talks about the Lamb, the apostle of the Lamb, whose name is John of Revelation. He writes the rest of what will happen. And that's where you learn, oh, yeah, the great and abominable church. Yeah, obviously it's led by the false prophet. So yes, that's what the Book of Mormon is telling you, without telling you. They're giving you clues that you have to study. Because the enemy wants to burn the book. Cover it up and hide it. Nobody was supposed to know the way to perfection that resulted in me going here eventually. Was their secret plot encoded with Jesus talk? That Lucifer is going to attend Adam-on-Diamond and hand over the keys of government to Jesus? Yeah, well, the Danites told Thomas B. Marsh, it's them, not Jesus. But then the Danites told Joseph Fielding Smith Sr., it's Jesus. And he, not knowing the code, thinking it's real, oops, very tragic, being the son of Hiram, is there writing about it, and he's clueless. He does a first presidency statement on the One Mighty and Strong, and is clueless. Because he'd been too indoctrinated by Heber C. Kimball, who took care of him and his brother and mother. Just crushes me. And so nobody is supposed to know that the church is behind all of this. Not the world, not even members of the church are supposed to know that the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints are the puppet masters behind everything that's going on. And I warned you when the church was bragging about meeting all of the world leaders and religious leaders that this was all setting up for Armageddon. And here we are. Revelation chapter 16, verses 13 and 14. The false prophet calls all the world to Armageddon. And here we are. They did it. And then it's confirmed with Oaks getting leaked last November from the leak by Sister Jessica, by her mission president, by Oaks from 2020. 2020 and 2021 is just a test run. God, I did everything. Parted the waters, and yeah, it's the Colorado River this year, if you haven't caught on. Oops, I did it again. Colorado River. Green River in 2020. Colorado River now. It's actually 2021. So, I've noticed everybody is now changing child porn to child sex abuse material and not even using the name, they're using the acronym CSAM. Had to look that up at first. Oh, God. And so, yes, there's no longer any such thing as child porn. It's now child sex abuse material. Okay, if it really is, and you're not just renaming child porn with the incorrect definition from the incorrect translation. Nonetheless, Parowan man was arrested for that. So yes, I'm noticing a lot of extra people are getting arrested for that. And in this particular case, it wasn't the Utah government. It was the feds that were involved. Some other agency than the FBI. That was interesting. Utah State Auditor. Yeah, he'd been doing some bad auditing of the government. And so they got him back. The hotline was where the stolen $188,000 was. You can't go up against the church. You can't go up against the government. They will frame and blame you with child porn. Get you cancel cultured to kick you out of their Zion. Section 119. It's true, Travis. Only because you're making it true. Okay. Yeah, also with this shutdown, Trump is wanting to destroy energy. And again, you're not getting it, people. Every state is supposed to run their own state. Everything. Our electrical grid shares multiple states. Canada is about to shut down our grid for the territories in Utah that are affected by Canada's electrical grid. A server farm was found in New York right before it was activated that would have sent out a whole bunch of spam through the AI monkeys. And Crypto's just playing with them. He destroys the drones, but plays with the monkey. And then he was bullying a pigeon in the short cartoon clip that they also added on the DVD. Dear God. Trash talking Supergirl. What the hell, Superman? Who wrote this script? Have the parents being the bad guys now, and then Supergirl is a dear God. Quit tampering with the storyline. But anyway. And so, yes, every single state have their own economy, which means companies run the electricity, companies run hospitals, companies run utilities, companies. No federal government, no state government. Unless you choose it to be state government, but then you're likely going to be considered Antifa rather than MAGA as communists. But yeah, all of the energy grids, each state is supposed to have their own energy grid for their state now, not be dependent on other states that might be in an Antifa state. This is what he's doing. He's trying to fix the electrical grid, which is way obsolete and very susceptible because Putin keeps running his little tests. Can we still hack them? Yep. Stupid Americans. Stupid Americans. We can strike and destroy you anytime we want. And so yes, this is what Trump is doing, but it's falling right into the hands of the church because Utah gets their own state back. Yes, the church. Section 119. So, okay. That was just brilliant. D. Todd Christofferson has almost 15 terabytes of downloading of my video content. And he has the audacity to get YouTube to attack me for downloading fair use access material. So, yeah. Okay. I'll just download your conference talks and post them to expose you, just like I did with Inkley. KSL is sneaking back into psychology. And just so annoying that they will never get it. They're puppets for the church to push that psychology is good as they're getting locked up in prison for being bad. Jody Hildebrandt, educated at BYU in psychology. Prison for the 8 passengers woman. I mean, dear God. All of the treatment centers getting shut down for abusing and sexually raping their clients, as they're all drugging them for big pharma to get kickbacks. Money's involved with this. Psychology is a fraud. They use self-fulfilling prophecies for their diagnoses and then get other people to believe the self-fulfilling prophecy diagnoses so that they then fulfill the self-fulfilling prophecies for the psychologists. And the psychologists say, see? When a psychologist interviews people, the psychologist asks leading questions so that the person tells the psychologist exactly what they want to be told. Self-fulfilling prophecy. It's all a lie. It's all a fraud. It's all a con. Just like going down to Louisiana and New Orleans, where all of the soothsayers and the witches and the glass lookers, palm readers, it's the same stunt. They tell you what you want to hear with leading questions. They see your facial expressions. They know how to manipulate you, if they're any good at their job. And so one of the several on KSL yesterday was a woman talking about how we can reduce stress. It's psychology. No. One word, dear. Sex. One word. That will reduce stress. It has been proven in test after test after test after test. Because the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints forces us to pay when we turn 8 years old, being baptized as members, to turn off our sex drives. And then we have to get married to a Mormon and only have sex for babies, but we have to pay. Now, yes, you're thinking, no, we don't have to have babies. Utah wants to cancel out all birth control, contraception, day after pills, no abortions. You can't be a single mother. They will financially ruin you and culturally shame you to take away your baby and traffic it to a good Mormon couple who are rich to take care of it. They're bringing it all back, baby. And so, yes, you have to pay for the rest of your life to have sex with your wife. You're supposed to follow the example of Nelson, who had 1 billion kids with one boy at the end. Which, yeah, that would be awesome. But the woman has to be able to handle that. So it's all up to her. But, again, when you get Mormons who believe that we can just turn off our sex drive, and then we don't understand why we have mood shifts, guys are always weird. Why are guys acting weird? That's why. And so you've got kids who are being groomed by psychologists to tell psychologists and thus tell the news of how kids are thinking that no phones is now the greatest idea. I'm able to study in school and pay attention in class. Really? No ADHD anymore? You don't need to take the drugs? Well, no, I still have the diagnosis and I still take the drugs, but that's what they told me to tell them, and so I told them what they wanted to hear. We need to lock them all up. All the psychologists and all the other names they use. Dear God. So, this is a weird thing. In Utah, even, with football as being as big as it is in Utah. St. George boys are too big to play football. I thought that was the whole point, was to get big for football. That's why we keep recruiting those from Polynesia. 11 infants, all in Utah, northern Utah, got measles together. Infants, because their parents refused to vaccinate the kids. Utah Solomon spawning. That's time of the year again for spawning of salmon. That is interesting, the spelling though. AI advertising videos and stuff are still impersonating doctors. You can't do that. YouTube, Google, Microsoft are impersonating government officials by punishing people who violate their Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints standard value community guidelines. It all has to stop. This is all criminal. AI is not just a malware virus. It is a terrorist threat that needs to be immediately shut down. But it's not on purpose to cause war. And again, it's also being done to get the states to go, hey, our doctors are going to be the ones for our state to tell our people in our state what is what. That's the whole point. So you can't trust the federal government, you can't trust AI, you can't trust the internet, and so yes, medical doctors are being called upon to be a company in the states to say, we are now going to be the authorities for the state of Utah, the state of Arizona, state of Texas, state of whatever. That's the whole plan of this, to cause problems, to cause contention, to cause chaos, so that people do it themselves. And people just aren't smart enough to know how to do that. It's all been sabotaged. And so, yes, there's deported, separated families. That's also part of the tragedy of Mormons. Not only are Mormons dying, Mormons getting locked up in prison, but Mormons are also being separated from their families, which is going to make it even harder for me to do my job with the gathering. Nelson has blood on his hands. He will not hand it over to me. He will not confess. He will not restore the damage he has caused. He's supposed to hand it over to me. That's what he's been saying. They're waiting for Christ to show, to give it all to him. Here I am, Nelson. I got the gifts. It's me. Hand it over. Let's end this. He won't do it. Strengthening Church Members Committee who are listening to this video, are you telling him or are you holding this information back from him? Today's your meeting. You're not going to see this in time, I doubt, because this is an hour and 30 minutes. It's 8:30. It's not likely to make it before the meeting today. Is D. Todd back from Rome? And so, poor Zelensky, the whole world and the UN now supports Islam against Israel, and yet he still can't get them to help him against Putin. This is what happens when I get behind on the news. Pisses me off. Super typhoon, category 5, hit the Philippines, Taiwan, China, Macau, Hong Kong. Just devastating. But yep. Chapter 8, 9, and 10. It's here. And Greta. Put her in school. God, what a waste of a life. She wants to die for Allah. Again, they're trying to attack her boats to keep her from coming. They're trying to protect her life. Gaza is a war zone. Hamas is using the world to be shields. And they got Greta. And so now Italy has decided, okay, we now are going to recognize a Palestinian state. We're going to help Greta get safely to Gaza to die for Allah. Even though they have conditions, I guess. Whatever. Traitors. God. Drones are attacking Haiti. Church doesn't care about them. I think it was last week I saw that the Iran leader was saying that we are never going to remake nuclear weapons. We're not going to do it. All of this talk about us doing it is a lie. And so, yeah, now we got the satellite video coverage of rebuilding the nuclear weapons facility. They just lie, lie, lie. Who diagnoses autism, people? I gotta do this again because nobody's listening. Psychologists. This is their self-fulfilling prophecy. If there is something wrong in the brain, you go to a medical doctor. And because of this, you get people who say it's the Magna water. It's the smog. The pollution, the inversion here in Utah. Pollution. And so you get other whack jobs online talking of lies, making accusations to try to get people to believe them and spread those lies all over the internet. And so you get Ronald McDonald K. Jr. with worms in his brain coming out and saying Tylenol causes autism. So, yep, sure enough, the competition now increases their stock value. Tylenol, I guess, didn't bribe Trump. So they're trying to destroy Tylenol until they pay their dues to Trump. And so psychologists aren't stepping forward to say, no, Tylenol doesn't cause autism because psychologists don't look for causation. It's outward appearance, behavior. And so instead, it's medical doctors stepping up and going, what the bleeping hell? You're not getting it. Psychologists came from Nazi Germany, from the CIA, given asylum in America to figure out how to brainwash the masses and thank their American liberators by turning us into Nazi America or utterly destroy us. If the Antifa don't conform and comply. Your choices and actions make you who you are. Yeah, from Superman. So, Denmark and Norway are now being attacked by Putin. They're just allowing Putin to do this. This is what he does every single time. Did it with Ukraine. Now look at what's going on. He's going to invade. Hello? He wants you divided by sending all your military down to Israel, and then Putin will nuke you, and then he just blitzkriegs into Europe, laughing all the way. And yeah, the whole media thing, Trump purposely, every state is supposed to be in charge of their own media, their own news. No longer the federal government. All of it's going to be shut down and nobody's getting it. But because of this, there is Microsoft, Google, YouTube, who are Antifa, but at least know that they need to bribe Trump, who are now seeking revenge. And this is what I've been a victim of. The revenge of Antifa on the people supporting Trump or trying to protect Trump from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints who are going to be assassinating him. So yeah, I was originally going to put in the Book of Mormon thing about there are no ites. See if I can find it. Whoops, won't be Jaredites. It could be Josephites. Nope. Zoramite. Yeah, Zoram. Jacobites? No. Gonna make me search through these 14. So it'd be near the end here. Yeah. No. No. Must be in the beginning? No. God. So this is the frustration. I know it's the scripture in here somewhere, but just leave out no. Yeah, Jacob 1:13. Now the people which were not Lamanites were Nephites. Nevertheless, they were called Nephites, Jacobites, Josephites, Zoramites, Lamanites, Lemuelites, Ishmaelites. And it came to pass that in this year, this is 4th Nephi 1:36, there arose a people who were called the Nephites, and they were true believers in Christ, and among them were those who were called by the Lamanites, Jacobites, Josephites, and Zoramites. So that's when it changed back. But where's the one where they gave it all up? It's 36. Mormon 1:8. No. Enos 1:13. No. I'm footnoting this correctly. Yeah, they're not putting it in. But yeah, from the 4th Nephi one, you can see that they started up again after Jesus came. So it's going to take me too long to find it. Alright. So yeah, that's the whole MAGA Antifa, and then there's subcategories in both of those. To destroy the world. Psychology. Dichotomous and non-dichotomous categorization of human behavior. 9/11 here in Utah is using AI and telling people who call in for help to kill themselves. You know it's coming. If ChatGPT is telling people to kill themselves, even the AI therapists are telling people to kill themselves, you know it's coming. So last week I reported on how Utah has a dramatic increase in suicides. Well, yesterday, KSL has said that's a lie. It's dropped. Church is true. A BYU study came out that says polygamous marriages have women the happiest. Doing a whole anniversary of the family proclamation, and so the church is getting the news to do all this crap to support how the family proclamation is true. Family proclamation was used to destroy both my marriages, so don't give me this crap that it's great and awesome. I know better. So Mormons, all like sheep, were slaughtered in Provo with a rollover of the truck carrying all the sheep. Perfect symbolism. And the company that was offering tax debt relief was fined rather than jailed and shut down as illegal. We've destroyed America. We're all doomed. So yay, 2-hour videos are back. And we're just gonna do a simple, quick picture for you. with sign in the heavens for this morning.